evening, members and members of the public and the press, and welcome. This is the extraordinary council meeting of BCP Council, 23rd of July 2024. I'm Councillor Leslie Dedman, and as chairman of BCP Council, I shall be chairing this meeting, and I shall be supported by the vice chairman, Councillor Simon Bull. I will now set out the housekeeping arrangements for the meeting, and please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Council for live and subsequent broadcast and will be published on the Council website for a minimum of 6 months. So, in order to ensure the meeting is managed effectively, please could everybody follow these ground rules. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand clearly to indicate. Where there appears to be consensus in the meeting for a motion, I will ask if there is any dissension, and when a formal vote is required, this will be carried out by a show of hands, unless a recorded vote is required. That requires support from a quarter of the members present at the meeting. Please could members indicate if they are leaving the meeting? And I do know that this evening some members do have to leave for various reasons, so please just go out as quietly as you can. I'm sure you will. And in accordance with the Constitution, I will allow for comfort breaks as appropriate. If there is a debate going on, please try not to leave the meeting. And points of order raised should state the applicable constitutional provision. And, of course, I assume that all councillors uphold the highest standards of conduct during our meeting and treat each other with courtesy and consideration. And as a reminder, as there are quite a few members of the public, this is a meeting being held in public, but it isn't a public meeting. It's public are in attendance to observe proceedings and debate, and I therefore request that all the members of the public remain silent through all items. Thank you. So, item 1, apologies. Chief Executive, do you have apologies for this meeting?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, apologies have been received from Councillor Brian Castle, Councillor Mike Cox, Councillor Jackie Edwards, Councillor Andy Hadley and Councillor Chris Matthews.
Thank you very much. Declarations of interest, item 2. Chief Executive, can you report on any declarations of interest received?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, we've received no individual declarations of interest, but could I just ask the monitoring officer to provide an update on dispensations in regard to agenda item 3, please?
Thank you, Chairman. I can confirm that a dispensation has been granted to members of Cabinet, namely Councillors Brown, Burton, Cox, Earl, Hadley, Hannah, A. Martin and Kay Wilson. This is to enable them to fully participate in the debate and vote on the appointment of a new leader for BCP Council. The granting of this dispensation will be reported to the next meeting of the Standards Committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And as usual, if any member is required to make any declaration of interest, they should refer to the flowchart set out on the agenda for guidance on that. Now, agenda item 3, appointment of leader of the council. This is the process that we're going to follow. I, as chairman, will ask for nominations to be proposed and seconded, and each proposer and seconder will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Nominees will also have up to 3 minutes to speak once all nominations are received. Right. I would like to seek nominations for the leader of the council. I can say leader. Yeah.
For the final time, Chair. Thank you for inviting me to speak. Firstly, I would like to thank members of the Cabinet and Corporate Management Board for their unwavering support during my term as leader. I want to pay particular tribute to the Chief Exec and my PA, Kim Doran, and thank everyone for their congratulations and good wishes since my election to Parliament. It gives me great pleasure to nominate my good friend and Deputy Leader, Councillor Millie Earle, to be the next leader of BCP Council. Millie is a true child of Poole. She was born on the Ashley Road, which she now represents, the second of 4 children. I am told that even as a 3-year-old at ballet, she was keen to make sure no child was left out. And when singled out as a teenager due to her own background, she started to take a keen political interest in social justice. She preferred to attend a mixed comprehensive rather than the grammar school that she'd been accepted to. And at her sixth form celebration, the head of year said she was the most original student and would do well in politics. I have known Millie for 10 years, since she came to work with me on my first general election campaign in her first substantive role after graduating from Southampton University, having studied politics and international relations. She was a popular, hard-working and effective member of the team, and despite not securing a Lib Dem MP at that time, it was very clear that we would want to hold on to her. She stayed working for the local party through another election in 2017 before moving into marketing and then into charity work. And despite saying she had no appetite to be personally elected, she stood for election in her home ward of Newtown and Heatherlands in the inaugural BCP elections in 2019 and quickly made her mark championing play, community engagement and antisocial behaviour. She has been a real champion for women's rights, playing a key role in protecting the work of the abortion clinic and working hard to support those who are struggling with the cost of living. First in working for the Bournemouth Food Bank and then in founding the Branksome and Rossmore Community Fridge. I'm told that her passion for food waste started very young, having written a prayer as a young child about remembering those in other countries who cannot afford food and clean water. As well as being really politically astute, Millie is an incredibly kind and hard-working person. In 2023, she won the National Campaigner Award at the Lib Dem Conference for her dedication to elected representatives, with the statement that she is an exceptionally multitasking, multi-skilled and unflappable campaigner who always manages to be kind and caring. Her kindness extends to her four-legged friends too. She adopted a Romanian rescue dog, Cassie, having fostered dogs in her home previously. And however much work she has to do, you can always find her having time for a walk with Cassie on the local heathland or open spaces that surround our towns. When I was seeking a deputy leader last year on the formation of the Three Towns Alliance, I had no hesitation in asking Millie to fulfil this role. She is insightful, hard-working, thoughtful and inclusive. She knows how to get the best out of people, but to stand her ground on the things that she believes in. My journey from new councillor to new parliamentary candidate, from new council leader to new MP, have had Millie by my side throughout, and I can think of no better candidate to take BCP forward than Millie, who I will continue to support from the back benches and from the green benches.
Thank you, Councillor Slade. I believe we have a seconder, Councillor Andy Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I am indeed very pleased to second the nomination of Councillor Earl. We're living in difficult and often divisive times. There are huge financial challenges in local government, challenges that probably won't be resolved anytime soon. Many people might ask, given that context, given the brutality of the social media age we live in, and given the constant attention and scrutiny of His Majesty's press, who in their right mind would want to lead a council, I ask myself. By my count, by my count, there were 4 former council leaders in the chamber. In fact, there are 3, plus Vicky. And I think they all might admit, to some degree, that being a council leader can sometimes be a thankless task. So why bother? Well, in the case of Councillor Earl, I think that's more than obvious. I've worked with her on Cabinet for about 15 months, not a huge amount of time, but I've got to know her well. We have our political differences, and I'm sure there will be some more full and frank discussions around the Cabinet table to come. If there is one thing, however, that we're very united on, it's libraries. And that's my second favourite subject. Millie is absolutely passionate about improving our communities. She believes in fairness and justice. She wants to make things better. She wants to make a difference. And she's in this for the right reasons. She's also steadfast, focused, a good listener, an incredible hard worker, knows her own mind, is unfailingly courteous, and she more than understands and respects the importance of our three towns, their distinct identities, their political political representation, and their priorities. She's chaired the last two cabinet meetings with skill, patience, and efficiency. And Councillor Earl also represents something I find incredibly optimistic: a new generation of councillors and passionate advocates and campaigners that we can see all around this council chamber. That's the future, and that makes me very optimistic. I hope that everyone here, regardless of their political persuasion, can give Councillor Earl their best wishes and the best of luck in what is obviously a very difficult role. And I'm sure all the former council leaders could offer one piece of advice to her about making that job just a little bit easier. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. I now ask for any other nominations. Can you see any other nominations? Okay. Yes, oh, Councillor Broadhead, you're indicating. Are you nominating? Oh. Yes, do speak.
Thank you very much. No, I'm not nominating, don't worry, Councillor Chairman. Colleagues, as I did just over a year ago when Councillor Slade was appointed Leader of the Council, assuming there are no other nominations, I just want to be one of the first, as both a previous Leader and now Leader of the Opposition, to congratulate Councillor Earl on her forthcoming appointment. It really is an enormous honour and a huge task, as we heard from Councillor Martin. And as I offered to her predecessor, our phone is always on, and we're happy to try and work together on issues where we see, where we have agreement, especially on improvements that we know are going to make a difference to the lives of our residents. And while I'm sure she's relishing the opportunity to get stuck in, I do think it's also our job to point out the scale of some of the challenges, and I'd urge her to use her new position to change direction from some of the stances taken by the former leader. A few examples when I welcomed Councillor Slade to the job last year, I raised 4 areas where we'd made some progress, asked not to let it slide, but actually some of those have gone in the wrong direction. And now is your chance, Councillor Earl, to change that. Last year I said that the planning system that we inherited had only 60% of applications returned on time, which we changed to the high 90s. That progress has now stalled. We're finding the council in a position of having non-determined applications, which is costing us money. So now's the time to fix that. I asked at the time not to let the regeneration function slide. It's important to keep our towns moving and improving, but instead a lot of those ambitions have been watered down, many sites sold off. It's critical, and I hope you grasp it. We also reduced rough sleeping by 50% in our last year, ASB by a quarter. Those figures have gone backwards, and that must change. It's too important to let those figures slide. And the last thing I said to Councillor Slade last year was to keep our PSPO powers, which would give powers to stop overnight camping, powers to combat littering and stop coastal ASB. Some of those were kept, others were dropped, but as we heard last week, the remaining ones aren't even being used. Councillor Earl, our residents want their voices to be listened to, not ignored. When 75% or 65% of residents respond in a consultation to do something, do it. Don't ignore it just because you think you know best. Appreciate Councillor Slade now has other focuses, but your focus should be here, and we should work together to make BCP better, not slide into decline. My phone is always on to help with that, and we look forward to working with you in a positive way. Congratulations.
Are there any other speakers in the want of nominations? Yes, Councillor Howell.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, I'd just like to thank Councillor Slade for all her hard work and wish her luck in the future. We certainly need her to be lucky. It is wonderful to see that we now have a new set of almost complete sweep of MPs in the area, and hopefully that will bring some benefits to us as councillors and to our residents. In terms of the new leader, or hopefully the new leader, Millie, we swapped over in terms of cabinet roles. In the first iteration of the Unity Alliance, I was in the cabinet, and now I'm a lead member. So I haven't actually seen a lot of Millie up close in that respect, but I have had private conversations with her and seen her in action from a distance, and I think her commitment to community and general willingness to be open and engaging really bodes well for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, in the absence of any other nominations, I will, before I ask the prospective leader to speak, I will ask for a show of hands in support. So, all in favour? Oh, me as well. Yes. Yes, overwhelming. Thank you. Any abstentions? And any against? I'm so sorry. Oh, sorry, Julie. Yes, abstentions. Right, thank you. Right, so having now got a new leader, Councillor Earl, or leader, can I say, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I wanted to start by saying a huge thank you to Councillor Vicky Slade. Not only has she led the council with unmatchable dedication and strength through one of the most difficult years, but she's done it with passion, integrity and resilience. It's been a privilege to have served as Vicky's deputy, and I owe her a personal thanks as a colleague, mentor and friend for investing her time in my own development and giving me the confidence and the experience required to take on the role that she's done so well. As we continue to stabilise the finances of this council and work on our ambitions for revitalising our town centres, prioritise core services that look after the most vulnerable in our communities, it will only be because of Councillor Slade's hard work and leadership throughout this critical year that we are not only still standing, but we're stronger than ever. You're an inspiration to women everywhere, and especially to me. And I also want to say a huge congratulations on your election to Parliament. I want to thank members across the chamber for supporting my nomination too. The enormity of this role is not lost on me. There is opportunity ahead for this council, but there are also challenges. I'm so proud to be a member of the Three Towns Alliance that recognises the individuality and identity of each of our towns and ensures that we recognise the distinctiveness of our communities with varying identities. And we have some key projects in the pipeline to empower our communities and deliver that positive change. The Ward Improvement Fund, Town Centre Improvement Fund, the Residence Card, a governance review to put decision-making back into the hands of local communities so that they can thrive. We have a new government as well as MPs, and the air is full of hope for our public services as 14 years of austerity has finally and quite rightfully come to an end. And we look towards growth. We need to grab the opportunity though. We need to be clear with government what we need to deliver, quality local services, decent housing, help our communities thrive and be able to actually do what local government is meant to do and govern on a local level. I want to thank Councillor Andy Martin for seconding me and the Three Towns Alliance Cabinet for all the work they've done this year in making the tough decisions where the previous administration wouldn't. We have achieved a lot together, and I'm excited to work with you to continue driving this council forward through sound decision making, where we put people and communities, place and environment at the heart of what we do. Cabinet will include Councillor Mike Cox as my deputy and portfolio holder for finance, Councillor David Brown, portfolio holder for health and wellbeing, Councillor Richard Burton for children, young people, education and skills, Councillor Jeff Hanna, transformation, resources and governance, Councillor Andy Martin, portfolio holder for customer communications and culture, Councillor Andy Hadley, climate response, environment and energy, Councillor Kieran Wilson for housing and regulatory services. I'm delighted to welcome two new councillors who I've had the pleasure of working with over the years and will bring new energy and perspective to the administration.
They are Councillor Rich Herritt, who will be taking on our portfolio for destination, leisure and commercial operations, and Councillor Sandra Moore, who will take on communities and partnerships. We will also have our 3 lead members continuing in their specific areas to assist Cabinet on some of the key issues that we are facing as a council. Councillor Margaret Phipps, who deserves a huge amount of recognition for her work on the local plan. Her dedication and her drive has been critical to moving us forward in our local plan journey, and her input as a lead member for local plan delivery will be essential as it goes through the examination process. Councillor Mark Howe, thank you for your words, will continue in his role as lead member for regeneration projects, helping to unlock those key sites across our conurbation and drive the regeneration that our area needs to support housing delivery, community facilities and economic growth. And Councillor Simon McCormack, who will continue as lead member for homelessness and cost of living, as we continue to tackle the cost of living crisis and overcome challenges that local individuals and families face in securing appropriate housing and financial resilience. I'd also like to take the opportunity to announce the Member Champion scheme that Councillor Slade has been working on. We have a wealth of lived experience, knowledge and passion in this chamber from all across the council. We also have the opportunity as leaders in our own communities to champion specific issues that matter to us. That's why we will be inviting members to nominate member champions to promote specific causes that they care about both in the community and in the council. I will be working with Democratic Services to provide further information in the coming weeks, but I'd like to encourage all members to consider if there is a particular area or a topic or an interest that they have, if it's something they would like to champion, and be ready for when we officially launch that scheme. So thank you so much for your support this evening. I'm hugely honoured to take on this role as leader and look forward to carrying on Councillor Slade's legacy, the work of the Three Towns Alliance, and improving our council and delivering for our communities. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Leader. Can I just say at this point, since I'm in the chair and I can say what I like, basically, but I just want to congratulate our MP who is sitting here. I don't think we very often have a sitting MP sitting with us as a councillor. Congratulations, Councillor Slade. I know personally about your formidable talents, and I know you'll take them up to the upper house, or whatever we call Westminster nowadays, and I know you'll do the best for all of us down here, so thank you. Now, members, and for those watching on the live stream, we are concluding this part of the meeting, so the live stream will be concluding shortly. Those who are watching on the live stream for the full council meeting, there will be a new broadcast, and that will be on the council's meeting page or the YouTube channel. Thank you very much, members. Back at 7:30, I believe. Thank you.